first and foremost, I just wanted to state a couple things. You know, this is one of those things where I could use to also teach. Also, I can use this to make you guys think a little bit differently. So it's not always just a one-to-one comparison of like, oh, everyone's just a pedo. Because if you're fucking with someone that's a minor, that's not always the case. Which I find it also troubling that y'all always see someone under the age of 18 as a minor. Despite that, I get that the legal system says they are. You know, 16-year-olds literally kill people in cars, shoot up schools. And I guess you just have to blame it on young and reckless, huh? They can't be a monster. No? Okay. I take no responsibility because I'm young and whatever. And then like adults should always know. Something I just got off the phone with my uncle who is an older person. Obviously, I guess you would consider a boomer. And he has obviously stuck in his ways. But as I am a more intellectual being, I told him the exact same thing I'm about to tell you guys. Who teaches us that these things are bad and good? How do you know that they're bad and good? You're only taught that having sex with a 16-year-old is bad. Then obviously you're going to stick with that. But I think it's quite hypocritical for most of you to say some shit like that, because most of you were probably fucking when you were 16 or even younger, which is fine. I don't care, as long as, you know, there was 2 consenting people. From y'all guys is still like 2 whatever. Then a kid could have trauma later down the road. Yeah, you know why? Because if they're reflecting on that instance, and then now the society's telling them no, that was not okay, what do you think that's going to do to someone? Imagine it's the same thing as, you know, I don't know, drinking a cup of coffee in the morning. Most of you guys do it without thought, but what if I told you I think it's kind of odd that you need to drink coffee in order to tackle the day? Doesn't that mean technically you don't even have enough energy? The fact that you're using a stimulant in order to move and motivate yourself to do things, don't you think that that's a bad thing? Most of you probably see nothing wrong with it at all, and that's fine. But I think there's something fundamentally wrong with constantly needing a stimulant in order to perform. With that being the case, he's not a pedophile, because pedophiles prepubescent children. I do not care if she was 16. All right, talking sexual to a 16, because one, my state says it's okay. I'm accustomed to it. Okay. At the same time, I think, you know, if their laws or whatever their laws are in their place, then it is wrong. And in her case, she was also in the wrong on 2 fronts, because she also was recording. So we're looking at essentially a crime already, just that we're seeing messages and anything else. All right. This is quite literally all evidence that can be used in a legal situation if any of this is true. That's kind of my overall point. But let's get into some of this stuff. I want to address his apology by just kind of brushing it off at the moment, because he's obviously apologizing because he's remorseful that he got found out, right? I'm not saying that's not genuine. I'm just saying that if he was never found out, obviously, like, we wouldn't be getting an apology statement, right? And then obviously the court of public opinion is coming down on him, which at this point is kind of just ruining his life. So I'm not going to address a lot of the voice chat stuff from the one video I seen, which, by the way, also is doctored. That video, because it's doctored, there may be context that I'm missing. And that's kind of the issue too. We're being presented with what we want to be presented with, instead of allowing the chats, you know, all the evidence to be brought out. And I think that's an issue. You can't just doctor something and be like, hey, look at this bad person. I mean, quite literally, that is the internet. This one I thought was pretty funny, because it just goes to show that no one knows what grooming is. Grooming is usually using power, influence, or, you know, gifts or any form of special treatment in order to get something out of you. Even though I know that the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity may seem like what they're doing right now, especially if he's like, hey, you know, I'll talk to you when you're 18, you know, the exact same sexual way I'm talking to you now. I don't think that's necessarily grooming, because if it was grooming, then you would, you know, try to pass those kind of boundaries of dialogue in order to get that later on. Instead, they're already talking it now. And so then if you tell someone to wait, then they're 18. I mean, you're just like, hey, we're going to continue this conversation when you're now legal enough to have this type of conversation, you know. So I don't think it's necessarily grooming. In the case that, by the way, it kind of going back to the voice chats to kind of tack onto this, she was contacting him. They both admitted that she was the one contacting the developer. Now, granted, he also admitted that he shouldn't have had any interaction with her, which I also do agree. If it's illegal in your state, don't bother with it, or else you're just going to make things worse for yourself. But in this case, I think, you know, like that, this period right here isn't grooming. Just wanted to let y'all know that right away. That's not grooming. This one also is kind of sus, because I don't necessarily know. He said, ooh, I look forward to the videos. We don't have any context beforehand. So we don't know if he was setting up, like she was saying something about videos and then he was saying, ooh, I look forward to the videos, like of, you know, her being a, you know, whatever she was doing. And apparently they're about dressing or something. And then because she said those are my favorite videos with the jeans, he's like, wait, about the videos, do you want me showing off clothes or actually putting them on and being undressed and stuff? Insinuating. That's an insinuation, because once again, we don't know the context. Well, that would be super erotic, seeing you dress and undress. That's pretty damning, I guess. In a casual conversation between a man and a woman, they would probably say some shit like that if you were definitely trying to flirt someone up. So I mean, I guess it could be considered flirting. We're just gonna have a little fun with speculation and just say, you know, maybe he was flirting, maybe he wasn't. If we were to speculate this, we're just gonna go ahead and say he was leading on. I'm just not sure what kind of stuff to send. CP is illegal. We all know child porn, obviously, no matter if she sent it or not, it is illegal on whoever gets it. She said, okay, I don't have a problem with it, but if anyone found out, they would. Is there any way I could convince you? I'm just 1.5 years away from 18. Is it honestly that different? I seem desperate. This is such a weird thing. When does the person doing all this take responsibility? So what are we doing here? Is that the knowledge that we are all taught, by the way? Is that we can just chat to adults and they have to say no? This is such a weird thing to have to sit here and talk about, because she obviously is the aggressor. You don't say things like this if you're trying to get something, rouse something out of someone. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't know if she went on with it, because once again, it's all doctored. This is just some screen caps I'm working with. That I think it's odd that she would say something even remotely close to this out of, hey, I would like to see those videos. And then she went on a whole tirade about being naked and sending porn, and like it's okay with her to do it. And then that. If the age of consent was actually about keeping children safe, it would be 26, which, by the way, is 100% true. If you see anyone under 18 as children, then they should be 25 to make sound decisions. I wholeheartedly agree with that. He says, yeah, I know about all that, but my personal opinion doesn't matter whether I or not I think it's immoral. It is still illegal for me to be having a romantic sexual conversation with someone under 18. So they both know. He knows, she knows that what they're doing is wrong. They're both at fault for this. Not just him. They're both at fault. Yeah, no one in law enforcement would find out, though. Personally, I have too much stuff going on. So this right here is manipulation. By the way, I need y'all to understand what manipulation is so we're all on the same page. Manipulation is using your vulnerabilities in order to create a power imbalance, rather usually for personal gain or personal benefit. In this case, she contacted him knowing that she was going to get this time to talk with a developer she really likes, a fan. She's a fan. She's already said she's a fan, and she gets to talk directly to the guy making the something she likes. So she's getting more out of this than he is. You know, he's getting companionship, I guess, is how he's, seen it. And being in his statement, he was talking about being, alone and depressed, kind of, working on his own game and stuff. If she knew about this and she did this, once again, this is just speculation, and she is the manipulator and is actually influencing his emotions in order to get more time and like more conversation out of, for this like quality time she gets with this person. While, if he still is using having this conversation, so he knows he's in the wrong, it would be like, so those videos you get that like it's a hypothetical, like, hey, would you kill this chick for like $10 million? And most of us are like, hell yeah, that's easy. It's a hypothetical, so we all have our little yucks and then just go about our life. But would you actually kill someone for a large sum of money? So a lot of you would be like, no, because that's immoral, blah, blah, blah. But like some of you still would. I'll do you one that's like simpler and easier. If I just told you to twerk for 5 bands, odds are, no matter if you're male or female, you would probably twerk for 5 bands. You would look ridiculous for that short time for some money. And that is called financial manipulation. I gave you money. You do what I want you to do. So manipulation comes in all forms. I'm not sitting here saying like all women are manipulators because of, what they know. Which, by the way, we probably do need to get into more studies with manipulation, because right now, as it stands, men are more manipulative than women are. So using these type of words, using this type of like, hey, but like, no one will know. No one has to find out because, this is between me and you. Isn't that lowering a false sense of security? That's a type of manipulation. That's emotional manipulation. Yeah, I don't know, but if you ever decide, fuck that Yanderedev guy, you could anonymously release screenshots of some horny statement I made towards you, which he knows the process. Once again, I could, but I haven't saved any screenshots. And this is kind of the entire basis of why I wanted to make this video. There's just these little tidbits of constant manipulation manipulation, constant false security, constant. Should he have been chatting with her in their state? If it is illegal to talk to a minor, he's in the wrong. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not doing something wrong. No, it's absolutely illegal. But when do we process the person? When do we come after the person who, by the way, y'all keep saying is a victim? She is not a victim if she is doing shit like this. She is blatantly lying and creating a false sense of security. This person has no real reason to believe this person other than they both know they're doing something wrong. This is kind of my issue with this. So she's sitting here and basically telling him, you know, he's safe. I have all these things. I'm not recording, when she clearly is. She's going to have to take some blame for stuff like this, whether it's illegal or not. And stay tuned, because it gets a little weirder. He says, while I wouldn't take a trip to the other side of the country at this point in time, I am not emotionally available right now, since 90% of my time is focusing on game development right now. So really the only thing for me to get out of this are lewd pictures and videos to fap to. Now, granted, that was definitely a insinuation of some troubling, stuff. He knew the consequences of what they were doing, and yet he decided to solicit child porn, essentially. And she said, which I'll provide if you promise to keep it secret. So in his case, he also just did the exact same thing that I just told you guys about. He also manipulated, and he's manipulating her by saying, hey, I'm not available right now. I'm not really, I got too much on my plate. So, this out of what we're doing here, I just want, I can get a couple of these things. That's all I'm getting out of it. And, and she's like, well, yeah, I'm willing to oblige with that. That's also a form of manipulation. Okay. Like, I'm not on anyone's side. I'm just sitting here and telling you what I've noticed out of all this. And he's like, oh, I would keep it secret. Distribution of CP is illegal for both parts. I can't press charges without also being charged. He said, well, okay, you talked me out of it. Nothing from me then. No, sorry, I'll send things, I promise. And then she does actually send two things. We don't know if they're like lewd, like if they're like nude or anything. If she actually sent nudes, then yeah, both of them are in trouble. You have to take responsibility for your actions for sending them, knowing that it was illegal. He also has to take responsibility for receiving them and accepting that she would send them, knowing that they were illegal. They are both in the wrong. So now it's him pleading, which isn't a form of manipulation in the sense. And the only reason I say it's not manipulation is because, if I put a gun to your head, and, I told you I was going to kill you, you would plead for your life. Is that manipulating? No, not really. You're doing what you're trying to do to survive. That is self-preservation. You're just trying to make sure you come out of the situation alive. And pleading can be that. Can it be manipulative? Yeah, if you, talk about your kids and you're trying to build up emotional manipulation, yeah, sure. But in this case, so he's trying to talk her out of releasing the videos and stuff. By the way, she already gave him false sense of security saying she wasn't doing it. Now she's using leverage because she says she has them and this, that, and the third. But I think it's unique because she also says, but I lost respect and admiration for you with the 𝐷𝐻𝐾𝐧𝐤 daily life stuff. Which, by the way, if you've read 𝐷𝐻𝐾𝐧𝐤 daily life, which is a very deeply disturbing hentai, you would know that ruined the whole relationship. And now he's pleading that, hey, don't send out, the videos, don't send out all the text chatting, this, that, and the third. But her friends already got it. And they're, basically saying, hey, you're groomed. So, this is pretty much it for me. On this topic, like I said, I got a lot of, I'm going to try to put a lot of the, things down below, like a lot of the resources. You can go read each one. I learned about this when my queen, told me that Jay said he wasn't going to support him anymore, which I can understand. It's up to you. It's all your choice to support this guy or not. I thought, his game was going to be okay. If he'd actually worked on it. All I want to do is this. Just give you an idea of what manipulation and actual like grooming and all that stuff is. And do I think he's a bad person for talking to a 16-year-old? No. Once again, I do not think that it is okay here in Ohio for any adult and a 16-year-old to have like a 16-year-old can consent. Rightfully so. If they're able to drive, if they're able to hold a job, I think it's where we can be equals about this. At the same time, let's focus on the facts. They both did something illegal. Okay. They both did something illegal. And in her case, doubly illegal because she also recorded their conversations or whatever, which she stated they're in a recording state or whatever, 2-party recording state where both parties must know that they are being recorded or that a recording is happening between them, and they must like consent to that. Okay, right? That's fair. Okay, cool. So I do not care how you feel the situation of him talking to a younger person. I promise you, all of you, if you did not have the repercussions of society and everything else, if you were not taught that this was just some horrible, disgusting thing, which by the way, it isn't. All I want to end this on is both sides did something illegal. Stop calling the victim a victim. She, on her own basis, willingly talked to an adult on her own, not for like a question or two, but for actual companionship. She sought it out, okay? He did not have to accept. It is illegal for both of them to be talking to each other the way they did. It is more illegal for her to be recording it. That is the facts. That is what we know. I hope y'all think, more on this and able to form your own opinions. And I know y'all probably don't know the ideas of psychology, but I hope I gave you something to think about.